done nothing wrong. There was no collusion with the Russians. There was nothing. There was no obstruction. Somebody says something wrong, you fight back. They say that's obstruction of justice. It's nonsense.
Well, we saw with regard to Nixon, we had a president engaging in criminal conduct, covering up a crime, break-in into Democratic National Committee headquarters. But he also engaged in abuses of power that had nothing to do with Watergate or the cover-up. So we had a president who put himself above the law. It was very important to set a marker and to show that our democracy could work. Basically, a bipartisan effort could be made to say to a president, enough is enough. We have to be prepared and courageous enough to give that lesson whenever it's necessary.
Therefore, I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
Nixon resigned in early August, and President Ford issued a pardon in early September. It was very disturbing to see a pardon cut off any further accountability or criminal accountability, particularly when Nixon's aides were being prosecuted for the very things that they were conspiring with him over. We had a hearing on it. President Ford said he would come down and testify. I was the low person on the totem pole. I was the youngest one, the most recently elected. So I got to be the last person to ask questions, and I thought for sure somebody would ask President Ford about whether there was a deal about the pardon, but nobody else asked them, so I did.
We must all confront the reality of these suspicions, and the suspicions that were created by the circumstances of the pardon which you issued, the secrecy with which it was issued, and the reasons for which it was issued, which made people question whether or not, in fact, there was a deal.
There was no deal, period, under no circumstances.
People aren't always ready to, in Congress, dig for the truth and find out the truth and confront even the most powerful person. The special Watergate prosecutor came into being only by chance. I said to myself, we shouldn't have a special prosecutor just on a basis of chance. I mean, how do we know that the stars are going to align the same way the next time we need a special prosecutor? That law could have been amended and improved, but instead it was allowed to lapse. And so today we're confronted with a situation where the president keeps threatening to fire the special prosecutor. That's not a good situation.
I have purposely, because of this ridiculous witch hunt, I have said I'm going to stay away from the Justice Department until it's completed. So I've wanted to stay away. Now that doesn't mean I have to, because I don't have to. I can get involved. But I don't want you people to say that I'm interfering, that I'm doing anything.
There are questions as to whether the President of the United States and his campaign staff worked with the Russians or conspired in some manner with the Russians in connection with the presidential election of 2016. That's a very serious issue. It needs to be investigated properly. But how can it be investigated properly when you have a president constantly threatening to have that investigation shut down and attacking that investigation and trying to undermine that investigation? Maybe when this is over, Congress will go back and revisit having an office of a special prosecutor that can be court-appointed and that cannot be removed by a president. We should have learned our lesson before, but for sure by now we need to have learned that lesson.